Everyone wants to know, do I have to build a personal brand? But more specifically, do I have to build a personal brand in 2024? Well, I've got news for you. You already have a personal brand. The question is, do you like what you see? Today, I'm going to give you 4 questions that I ask all of my clients when I'm first partnering with them. And these questions help them provide their personal brand avatar clarity so that they can connect more authentically with their ideal client. These questions are questions that typically only really elite brands ask, but ones that you should start considering asking if you intend to build brand authority in your industry. And the secret is the question is not what's your why. The questions that we're going to talk about today are the same questions that have earned my clients 10,000, 20,000, even $100,000 more annually than they would have originally expected, but for the fact that they were missing these key components in their brand and messaging. The best part is your privacy does not have to take a backseat to you building a powerful personal brand. Your ability to answer these questions confidently will help you chart new territory and create the vision and legacy you desire with your business. Hi, I'm Sybil, and if we've not met yet, I'm on a mission to help women build brand authority in industries that they already love. So, if you are a creative, expert, or innovator like me, then stay tuned because you do not want to miss this. Like I said, these are the questions that I ask every single woman that I partner with. And since I've partnered with hundreds of women over my career, I think these 4 questions and their ability to answer them seamlessly have separated them from every other person in their industry. They're able to differentiate their brand and service offerings in a marketplace that can at times seem really crowded. And when we think about the crowding of the market, there's really a pro and con to this, right? If we think even 20 years ago, the marketplace wasn't that crowded. We didn't have an instant access global market advantage. We didn't have the opportunity to connect to people in different countries literally with the click of a button. But that also poses some really unique challenges, especially if you came up through the corporate ranks like me, where the bulk of your personal brand was determined by what the business owner said. And that brand probably sounded like you show up, you get to work, you come on time, you do the things, you leave on time, and then you go home. But as an entrepreneur in 2024, your ability to separate yourself from the people who are doing business as normal is going to make the difference between you building a sustainable brand or you suffering from the ebb and flow or the feast of famine that comes with entrepreneurship. And since I don't want that for you and you don't want that for you either, let's dive into these 4 key questions that you should ask yourself before building your buyer persona. Let's build your personal brand avatar. With that said, let's get started on my elite brand formula that is designed to help bring you clarity to your own brand avatar so you can connect to your ideal buyers. And again, these are questions that I not only had to ask myself when I first started my business, but the questions that all of my clients go through when we first start partnering together. Not only does it help them get clear about what they care about, but it also helps me serve them well to understand the business that they are in and the business that they want to be in, to help them ensure that what they're doing today aligns with the vision and future that they have for tomorrow. Step 1 in the Elite Brand Clarity Blueprint is E, evaluate your core. This is not your core offerings, okay? We'll talk about core offerings when we talk about the 4 Ps of marketing, but today it's about evaluating your you, who you truly are, about how your voice sounds to other people and why someone would choose you. But before someone can choose you, you've got to be prepared to choose yourself. Evaluating your core will involve you looking at everything holistically, especially if you haven't done it in a long time. So often I interact with women and they will say, "Oh, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years." Have we not all interacted with someone who's been doing a job for 20 years and we know that they are not the best suited for it? Or we've run across that expert who proclaims that they know what they're doing and then they make more of a mess of the thing and then we step in to clean it up? If that's been your experience, pop in the chat. I love hearing these kinds of stories, especially now that I am no longer in corporate. But evaluating your core, you want to think about a couple of things. So the obvious one is first, what is your expertise? What did you get this? What did you go to school for? What do you have a certification in? What degree background do you have? The second thing you'll want to think about that most people don't identify as evaluating your core is what have you historically done and not gotten compensation for? So often when I work with women, they'll say, oh, no one has ever paid me for that. Or I don't know why someone would pay me to do this thing, even though it's something that comes really easy to them. And I'm like, that's the skill. That's the thing you need to charge for, or that's your highest valuable skill set. How can we figure out how to get you compensated for that? So don't think, oh, because no one's ever paid does not mean it's not a skill worth charging for or something you might want to figure out how to start charging for in the near future. Also, think, is this something I can talk about forever? Let's just say if you have to create a YouTube channel or you decide to really dive deep in building brand authority and you need to produce content in batch or in bulk. Is this an expertise? Is this an area of expertise where you can talk about for an indefinite amount of time? That is a great way to decide, is this in alignment with my core? A great way to explore your core, can I talk about it forever without making myself nauseous? The next thing to think about is, can you talk to somebody who's maybe 7-year-olds about it? When I first started doing this work, I often would test my content on my niece. She is 6. And I figure if the 6-year-old can understand what I'm saying, then an adult will understand what I'm saying as well. So often as experts and innovators, we overcomplicate our process. We think really high level when really what people need from us is a baseline understanding of what we do well and how it's going to work for them. The question is, can you boil down all of your layers and expertise into a simple, complete message that is so distinct it can only be brought by you? If so, that's a part of your core as well. Also, can your process, systems, and expertise be replicated? Automation reigns. And if you can't figure out how to strategically process through what you're great at, then you're going to continue to build and build and build and never find a level footing in your core offerings or in how you're showing up to serve. Question number 2, what is your gap? Now, women fall in one of two categories that I've seen. Number one, we over dramatize our gap. We say, oh my God, I'll never be good at this thing. I was never good at this thing. Y'all don't do that. When you're evaluating your gap, be honest about the gap and know that it is okay. You're not supposed to be good at everything. On the flip side, there are my league of experts, and I used to be one of these where I was good at everything and I really did feel like I was great at everything. So I did everything. But if you want to build an elite brand, it is not on you to be the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. And as a matter of fact, selling to everyone means you'll be selling to no one at all. I know you've heard that before, but it's true. When you are evaluating your core, it is okay to take a step back and say, I can do this thing, but do I enjoy it? I'm great at doing this thing, but is this what I want to do for the foreseeable future? It's okay to set boundaries between what you love doing and what people expect from you. And then you get to start changing the narrative if you don't love it. We'll talk about reputation building in another video, but for now, I want you to dig in deep and ask yourself, here's a list of all of my skills. Which ones do I like doing? And rapid fire. If it's something you're great at, but you don't like doing it, how can you delegate that part of the job? As entrepreneurs, one fallacy that I see time and time again is thinking we have to do everything alone. That is the quickest way to the bottom. That is the quickest way to burnout. Ask me how I know. Understanding your gaps is a strength and not a weakness. Your ability to identify what uniquely makes you you and why people will choose you over everyone else will help strengthen your brand voice and how you show up in the world. It really is a win-win when you understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. One really great exercise that I love doing throughout my career is the writing test. Can you write for a minute with your dominant hand? Yes, you know how to write. That is a strength, that is a skill. The question is, are you as efficient, effective, and prepared to write with your non-dominant hand? Probably not. It might make a little sweat fall on your brow if you have to write something for a long time in your non-dominant hand. Think about it in that way and put an ease to the worry if you think, oh my gosh, I'm not really as good as this thing as I thought I was. It is okay to be slightly imperfect. You can still be an authority, I promise. And the best part is, after this exercise, the things you really don't like doing anyway, you'll stop doing and you won't miss them. Somehow you'll figure out how to do something just a little bit differently and function within your core capabilities. Question number 3. What annoys you? Now, I know this question seems a little bit odd, but really, what annoys you? So often we are hypercritical about things and not realizing we might be the person to solve the thing that we're annoyed about. It's definitely how I started my business. I was pretty freaking annoyed with women who felt like they had lost their voice in corporate, with women, self included, who had spent their entire career building up other businesses and losing themselves in the process. That annoyed me, and I decided to do something about it. And the best part is, I already had the skill set to make things happen. Understanding what annoys you will also help give you insight into what might annoy your ideal clients. The same thing that annoyed me about that process are the same processes that I now teach my women how to overcome. Here's how you build brand authority. Here's how you negotiate fiercely. Here's how you build sales. Here's how you stand out in the noisy crowd. Here's how you do all of these things that I already knew how to do. And here's a toolkit. Here are your resources. Here are the best practices. And what happened is, the clearer that I got with what annoyed me, the more likely it was that I was creating content that would help alleviate the pain that my ideal clients were experiencing. As empathetic service providers, it's often a challenge, especially with women who exhibit a very forward caregiving personality, that they don't want to re-trigger their clients. And so this is not about like attacking pain points, because of course that's not what we want to do. We want to help. We want to make the world a better place. But if you ask someone, hey, what really annoys you? They'll probably tell you a laundry list of things that annoy them. And then you get to figure out, oh, do I have a solution for this thing? Because, hey, it annoys me too. Sometimes the easiest solution is the one we have not thought of. So take a few moments and ask yourself, what annoys you? And am I equipped to solve that problem for myself as well as everyone else? Number 4 is, what's my why now? And like I said earlier, this is not Simon Sinek's What's Your Why? What I found is, as an entrepreneur, as a woman who helps other women, my why changed and it evolved over time. And that's by design. We figure out that our highest skill set changes as we serve. We realize how we used to serve in the past doesn't match how we want to serve in the future. So when you think about your why now, think, am I still utilizing the highest parts of my gifts? And why now do those gifts matter more than ever? We're at a place where people no longer need things. All of our needs are pretty much met. We are at a place where people no longer want for things. We went through the big box of the 90s where Bed Bath & Beyond and Best Buy and Circuit City and every other nostalgic brand blew up the market. There was 100 different varieties, 1,000 different colors for you to choose from in the Crayola box. Today, people want to know what's their why now. And that leads into desire, into our innate desires for connection, to remind ourselves of the core of humanity. Your why now should tap into that. When you tap into your why now, you don't have to worry about AI taking that because AI will never be human, or at least not in the foreseeable future. But really, it will tap into every core aspect that separates man from machine. Your why now is so uniquely you that that message will make your heart sing. It will steady you in times where things in your business or your future feel unsure. It will be that thing you yearn for, that you feel called for, that it helps you dream a peaceful dream, even if it's keeping you awake at night. When I hear people say, oh my gosh, my dreams are so big, they're keeping me up, I'm like, then that's a nightmare. My dreams help me rest. The vision that I have for my business helps me get some extra good sleep, even if I'm thinking about what's the next thing that I want to do or the why that I want to solve for tomorrow. When you think about your why now, think about an alignment. Does it align with your today? Does it align with your core values? Are you still serving in the way you thought you would serve, or has that changed? If so, how? This is also a great time to revisit your business plan if you have one. Does the thing that you are doing today, the services you are offering today, align with that document that probably needs to be dusted off? And ask yourself, is this what I thought I would be doing, or does it look better or worse? How can I get myself back on track if my why now has completely gone? The other thing to think about your why now is the impact that you want to make in the people you know you see yourself serving for the short term and the long term. Um, are you in the industry you dreamed of being in? Are you touching the world in the way that you wanted to touch the world, small or large, right? Being elite brand doesn't mean everyone knows your name. Having an elite brand means that you're connected to the very specific people who need to know your name, who need to know why you're doing what you do and why no one else can do it better than you. All right, you've got your 4 questions, but to recap, as you start exploring your core and creating your personal brand avatar, question 1, what are you an expert in? What do you do all day? It's not your job title. It's the expertise that you don't mind talking about ad nauseum, or again on a 20-minute YouTube video. Question number 2, what are your gaps? Take an honest look at yourself and ask the questions, the hard questions that most of us don't really enjoy asking ourselves. Write it down and let it go. Number 3, what annoys you? If it bothers you, then chances are it's bothering someone else. You might be the cure to what you are complaining about. And then last but not least, number 4, what's your why now? When you embrace those 4 questions, you are on the road. If you take action, you are on the road to creating an elite brand. All right, so if you've enjoyed any of the things that I've talked about today, please do not forget to hit that like or subscribe. It helps other people like you get the information that they need to build brands with authority. Till next time, I will see you on the other side. Have a fabulous day. Bye for now.